Hello! My name is Leo. We're going to do the reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today we're going to be reading Biography of the Wolf Queen by Qatar and Flanz. Few historical figures are viewed as unambiguously evil, but Potempa, the so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude, surely qualifies for that dishonor. Born to the imperial family in the 67th year of the Third Era, that's very early, Potempa was immediately presented to her grandfather, the Emperor Uriel Septim II, a famously kind-hearted man who viewed the solemn, intense babe and whispered, She looks like she-wolf, about ready to pounce." Potempa's childhood in the imperial city was certainly difficult from the start. Her father, Prince Pelagus Septim, and her mother, Quizra, showed little affection for their brood. Her eldest brother, Antiochus, 16 at Potempa's birth, was already a drunkard and womanizer, infamous in the empire. Her younger brothers, Sepphoris and Magnus. Magnus? Oh. As in that Magnus? I don't think so. I'm sure that Magnus is like for the first era. You mean like the star for Magnus? Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah. Were born much later. So, for years, she was the only child in the imperial court. By the age of 14, Potempa was a famous beauty with many suitors. But she was married to cement relations with King Manticaco. Not Mamanako, right? No. Of the Nordic Kingdom of Solitude. She entered the court, it was said, as a pawn, but she quickly became a queen. The elderly king, Mantinaco, loved her and allowed her all the power she wished, which was total. When Uriel Septim II died the following year, her father was made emperor, and he faced a greatly depleted treasury, thanks to his father's poor management. Pelagus II dismissed the older council, forcing them to buy back their positions. In the Third Era, 97, after many miscarriages, the Queen of Solitude gave birth to a son, who she named Uriel after her grandfather. Mantinaco quickly made Uriel his heir, but the Queen had much larger ambitions for her child. 2 years later, Pelagus II died, many say poisoned, by a vengeful former council member, and his son, Potempa's brother, Akhitus, took the throne. At age 48, it could be said that Akhitus' wild seed had yet to be sown, and the history books are nearly pornographic in their depictions of life at the imperial court during the years of his reign. Wow. Nearly pornographic. Wow. Potempa, whose passion was for power, not fornication, was scandalized every time she visited the imperial city. Mantinaco, king of Solitude, died the springtide after Pelagus II. Uriel ascended to the throne, ruling jointly with his mother. Doubtless Uriel had the right and would have preferred to rule alone, but Potempa convinced him that his position was only temporary. He would have the empire, not merely the kingdom. In Castle Solitude, she entertained dozens of diplomats from other kingdoms of Skyrim, sowing seeds of discontent. Her guest list over the years expanded to include kings and queens of High Rock, and Morrowind as well. For 13 years, Antiochus ruled Tamriel, and proved an able leader despite his moral laxity. Several historians point to proof that Potempa cast the spell that ended her brother's life, but evidence one way or another is lost in the sands of time. In any event, both she and her son Uriel were visiting the imperial court in Third Era 112 when Akhitus died, and immediately challenged the rule of his daughter and heir, Quintana, which I've heard that name before. Potema's speech to the Elders' Council is perhaps helpful to students of public speaking. She began with flattery and self-abasement. My most august and wise friends, members of the Elder Council, I am but a provincial queen, and I can only assume to bring to issue what you yourselves have already pondered. She continued on to praise the late emperor, who was a popular ruler in spite of his flaws. He was a true septum, and a great warrior, destroying, with your counsel, the near-invincible armada of Pondadania. But little time was wasted before she came to her point. The Empress Magna unfortunately did nothing to temper my brother's lustful spirits. In point of fact, no whore in the slums of the city spread out on more beds than she. Wow! Some shade you throw in there, maybe. Had she attended to her duties in the imperial bedchamber more faithfully, she would have a true heir to the empire, not the half-wit, milk-sop bastards who call themselves the emperor's children. The girl called Quintana is popularly believed to be the daughter of Magna and the captain of the guard. It may be that she is the daughter of Magna and the boy who cleans the cistern. We can never know for certain. Not as certainly as we know the lineage of my son, Uriel, the last of the Septid dynasty. Despite Potema's eloquence, the Elder Council allowed Quintana to assume the throne as the Empress Quintana II. Potema and Uriel angrily returned to Skyrim and began assembling the rebellion. Details of the War of the Red Diamond, oh, that's what it was called, okay, are included in other histories. We need not recount the Empress Quintana II's capture and eventual execution in Hyrule spoilers in the year Third Era, 114, nor the ascension of Potema's son, Uriel III, 7 years later. Wait, what about Uriel II? Uriel II was her grandfather. Oh, okay. I'm going to look this shit up. Alright. Her surviving brothers, Sepphoris and Magnus, fought the Emperor and his mother for years, tearing the Empire apart in a civil war. When Uriel III fought his uncle Sepphoris in Hammerfell at the Battle of Ixgad in Third Era 127, Potema was fighting her other brother, Uriel's uncle Magnus, in Skyrim at the Battle of Falconstar. She received word of her son's defeat and capture just as she was preparing to mount an attack on Magnus's weakest flank. The 61-year-old Wolf Queen flew into a rage and led the assault herself. It was a success, and Magnus and his armies fled. In the midst of victory celebration, Potema heard the news that her son, the Emperor, had been killed by an angry mob, before he had even made it for trial in the imperial city. He had been burned to death within his carriage. Uh-oh. When Sepphoris was proclaimed emperor, Potema's fury was terrible to behold. She summoned Daedra to fight for her, and her necromancers resurrect her fallen enemies as undead warriors, and mounted attack after attack on the forces of the Emperor Sepphoris III. Her allies began leaving her as her madness grew, and her only companions were the zombies and skeletons she had amassed over the years. That's fine. The Kingdom of Solitude became a land of death. Stories about the ancient Wolf Queen being waited on by rotting skeletal chambermaids. Why do you need chambermaids? Oh, wait a minute. And holding war plans with vampiric generals terrified her subjects. Potema died after a month-long siege on her castle in the year Third Era 137, at the age of 90. God damn, she's getting on. While she lived, she had been the Wolf Queen of Solitude, daughter of the Emperor Pelagius II, wife Wait, I thought Pelagius... No, sorry, I'm confused again. Wife of King Mantinaco, aunt of Empress Kintura II, mother of Emperor Uriel III, and sister of the Emperors Akhtutus and Sephirus. 3 years after her death... Wait, he hadn't died yet? Huh, okay. 3 years after her death, Akhtutus died, and his and Potema's brother Magnus took the throne. I think that's a typo. I think that's supposed to be Sephirus. I'll check that later. Her death was hardly diminished... Wait, her death has hardly diminished her God damn it! Okay. Her death has hardly diminished her notoriety. Thank you. Though there is little direct evidence of this, some theologians maintain that her spirit was so strong she became a daedra after her death, inspiring mortals to mad ambitions and treasons. It is also said that her madness so infused Castle Solitude that it affected the next king to rule there. Oh, Pelagius the Mad, yeah. Ironically, that it was her 18-year-old nephew Pelagius, the son of Magnus. Whatever the truth of the legend, it is undeniable that when Pelagius left Solitude in 3rd Era 145 to assume the title as of the Emperor Pelagius III, he quickly became known as Pelagius the Mad. It is even widely rumored that he murdered his own father, Magnus. The Wolf Queen must surely have had the last laugh. Okay, 2 things I want to look up. First thing, they said that Akhtutus died, but he was already dead, right? Hang on. Hang on. Where is the part where he died? Yeah. Akhtutus died. There you go. Look, Akhtutus died. So, okay, that's obviously a typo. That is meant to be Sephirus. Sephirus died. Yes, that makes sense. What was the other thing you want to look up? There was something else I wanted to look up, wasn't there? Well, I wanted to talk about the Uriel septum line. Oh, do you now? Yeah, because I'm curious. Right, I'm going to look at this book first. Biography... Biography of the Wolf Queen. So this is Uriel the Second. And the thing that kind of confused me at the beginning of the story is that this is in the sixth... Oh, God damn it. This is in 3rd Era 67. So really, really early. So, Tiber Septim, of course, was the one to begin the era. Yes. And, I might have read this actually in Skyrim. Because this does sound familiar, but, whatever. Anyway, I'm curious about the what do I want to say? You want to say the legacy, the lineage. There you go. The lineage of the septums. Oh, okay. Why do they all have to be? What is the deal with, like, you know, the second, then only the second, and then only the third, and then only the fourth? Why do they do that? I don't understand the point. I mean, people still do that today. You know, in America you have Junior, right? You have, like, we have George Bush Sr. and George Bush Jr., right? But, alright, Uriel Septim the First. Don't know when he was born, but he died in 3rd Era 67. Okay. When did grandfather die? So she was born, what, 3-4 years after Uriel the First died. And then after he died, Uriel Septim the Second took over. And then Uriel Septim died in 82. Wait, what? It says Uriel Septim II became the 5th Emperor of Tamriel after the death of Uriel I. That does not make sense. That does not make sense. At all. Uriel Septim III. Oh, his name is Mantinako. Oh, that's interesting. Who's that? You're an idiot. Oh, that's her son. That's her son. Sorry. What about the 4th? Who's the 4th? Also known as Uriel Lariat. Don't know when he was born, but he died in 247. Okay. And who's the one we got now? Uriel Septim the 5. The 5th, rather. Now is 7. 7? Yes. Uriel Septim the 7th. Oh, there he is. Right. He's the 21st Emperor of the 3rd era. Really? Huh. Okay, well, I guess they weren't rehashing the name that much, if there's 27 of them, but he's still the 7th, right? You know. And he was the last, right? I want to say that's right. Okay, here we go. I got the full Septim bloodline. Alright, we got Tiber Septim, Pelagius Septim the 1st, Kitria Septim, Uriel Septim the 1st, Uriel Septim the 2nd, Pelagius Septim the 2nd, Architutus Septim, Kitria Septim the 2nd, Uriel Septim the 3rd, Sulphurus Septim the 1st, Magnus Septim, Pelagius Septim the 3rd, Kitria. Who's that? I know that. I've heard that name before. Cassinia Septim, Uriel Septim the 4th, Cephalus Septim the 2nd, Uriel Septim the 5th, Uriel Septim the 6th, Morhatra Septim, Pelagius Septim the 4th, Uriel Septim the 7th, Martin Septim. Oh. Yeah, that was the... Right, I haven't actually played Oblivion. Well, I hadn't finished Oblivion, but yeah, I do know that. Right, so let me get straight. Of all of the things, of unique names, right? We've got Tiber, we've got Pelagius, we've got Kintra, we've got Uriel. Wait, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Akatosis, Cephalus, Magnus, Kacharia, Cassandra, Morhatra, Martin. So wait, 11? Yeah, 11 out of, how many are there again? I don't remember. Unique names. So we've got Pelagius. We've got 1, 2... How many Pelagiuses are there? There's 4 Pelagiuses. Okay. There's 7 Uriels. Right. There's 2 Cephaluses. Really? And there's 2 Kintaras? Yes, there are 2 Kintaras. And then of ones that are completely unique and not copied again, Tiber, Akatosis, Magnus, Kacharia, Cassandra, Martin. Oh, and Morihata. Now, actually, that name, that middle one, is interesting because it's not actually a septum. Interesting. Tell me more about this. Well, oh my god, we've got a fucking family tree. Kataraya. Why do I know that name? So her name is Rahantham. Empress Kataraya. Oh, isn't she the one that has the crown that you find all the gems for? Isn't she in... No, she can't be, because she died in... She's Dunma. Interesting. Why do I know that name? Does sound very familiar. Well, yeah, I know. I do know that in Skyrim you had to make the crown. Yeah, it features a large galleon. Also, Brief History of the Empire talks about it. Also, there's some other shit. What's a galleon? Where's that? I think they're talking about the crown. Wait, no, it's a ship. Oh! There's a ship called Kataraya? Yep. Oh. Where is it? I don't know. It's in... It already appears after the Dark Brotherhood quest Hail Sithis has been started and... Oh, it's related to that particular quest. I guess. Oh, an Emperor is in there. Oh. Wait a second. What? Emperor Titus Mead. You're an idiot. This is the 4th era. Oh, Skyrim's the 4th era. I knew that. Alright, well, this has been a reading of Biography of the Wolf Queen by Katara Amphicines. Another reading of the Elder Scrolls. But for now, my name is Leo, and I'll see you next time.